Hello, I'm David Morgan of the Kansas chapter. On behalf of the Practice Technology Committee, this is the Tech Tip of the Month. And today I have with me Drew Soshnick. He's with an Indianapolis firm, a very large firm, and the name's too long. I'm just not even going to say the name. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the reMarkable. It's a tablet, not just how you use the tablet, but specifically how the reMarkable interfaces with the internet. All right, Drew, I'm going to hand it over to you now and go ahead and tell us how you use the reMarkable and how it interfaces the internet and how it helps you with your practice.
Thanks, David. A pleasure to be here and giving the tech tip for this month. And one of the things that you learn is that when you're giving a tech tip, you find out exactly how much you don't really know about tech. So we're going to talk about the reMarkable, specifically the reMarkable 2 tablet. There are various incarnations of it, but some of the comparative product out on the market, and then talk about how it interfaces with your law firm and the different applications that you have, and hopefully give you a chance to figure out whether you're a pen and paper person or whether you like these what are known as e-ink tablets that are really in vogue and over the last 5 to 7 years have picked up some steam. As technology has changed, we've seen a large number of international companies coming into the marketplace, headlined by what's known as reMarkable 2. And when people talk about a reMarkable, I like to think of it as when people talk about pop or Coke or they talk about Kleenex or Puffs, they're using a generic term for something that we use. And you're seeing this proliferate not only in law firms, but you're seeing it proliferate in colleges and in grade schools and junior high schools as well. And that is electronic note takers. So when we think about a reMarkable, and I'll use that term generically, it really is serving as pen and paper for you. And one of the things that you will want to do first is as you deal with either your inside or outside IT service, you're going to want to make sure that the product that you have loads properly into your system. As lawyers, the function of the reMarkable type tablet or the e-ink tablet is to be able to give us a seamless, basically cloud-based opportunity to take notes, put them in files, and use them without buying pen and paper and doing that. That's really all these are. And some of these products are really, really quite good on the market, and some are not quite so strong. So I thought what we might do is spend a few minutes talking about the various products, and then I'll give you my conclusion, having sampled a few of them. But again, with the caveat that you need to make sure that you're talking with your IT people because it needs to interface with whatever applications you have and whatever products you have internally. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with notes on a tablet, and that's not what you want. You want it to be integrated seamlessly into your system, whether it's through the cloud or otherwise. So the reMarkable 2 came about in the late 2010s, about 2018 or 2019, out of Norway. Very large concern created it. And the marketing opportunities that reMarkable has taken to place itself in the market is to say, we're really simple. This is all we do. We don't have apps, or we have very few apps. There's no distraction here. This is a paper-like experience, almost as much as you could possibly have on a computer. It has a lot of useful features. It can read, it can annotate. You can also load PDFs and sign documents with it. But perhaps the best trick it has is it can generate handwriting and turn it into text, typewritten text. So it can really convert your work product and your notes into something that can be stored within your electronic files. It doesn't take a lot of computing power, and the hardware is one of the neat tricks about it is they've had about 10 software updates since it came onto the market, and their marketing shtick is you can use this forever. It's like using a 1983 Apple Macintosh computer. All we do is we keep updating it. Well, that's not exactly a perfect analogy. That's what they use in their marketing. So that sounds wonderful, but what are the weaknesses about the reMarkable? Well, if you're in Wi-Fi hotspots or in weak Wi-Fi areas, the connectivity issues happen fairly frequently, and that can affect the handwriting to text applications. The storage is much less than you would find on an iPad or a Supernote. The stylus is separately purchased, so there's an additional cost. And a couple of these can run up to $500 or $600, even though the base price may be $299 or $399. And probably the biggest challenge is if you are a lousy scrivener, your handwriting is messy. The conversion can be pretty imperfect when you do that. The custom templates you might use for applications are also limited there. And finally, the biggest gripe, if you look online, and it's true, are the stylus attachment with the magnetic tool is weak. So you probably want to carry the stylus separately because it drops off fairly frequently. But reMarkable has, for this function, and let me stress the e-ink function, it is largely considered to be the gold standard. Now we have a couple of other options for you, actually 3 or 4 I want to discuss. One is called the Supernote Nova, and this is a Chinese company that has developed, basically, it's similar to the reMarkable in that it has a paper-like writing feel, a really durable stylus. People rave about the pen tip on it, and that it feels very much like it is you're writing on paper. It has the nub to it when you write. Additionally, it can customize much more so. Think of it as in between an iPad and a reMarkable in terms of the customization options it has. It is likely the most expensive e-ink tablet you're going to find. It is more expensive than an iPad, a basic iPad, and it does not have, much like the reMarkable, a lot of applications that can be used within it. So think of it as a true reMarkable alternative, the Supernote, that is not branching out, but is primarily focused on the opportunities to just use notes and to create handwritten summaries of where you are in your practice. The iPad is the third, and I won't go into a lot of detail on that, except if you're easily distracted or have ADHD, you probably don't want to pick the iPad since you can surf the net. It has every possible application you can reach. The multimedia capacity far outstrips the Supernova and the reMarkable because those are designed for one task effectively, and that is note-taking and document signing. If we were to compare the performance, the iPad generally has a shorter battery life than the first two. And oddly enough, people complain that the eye strain from that tablet is much greater than on the reMarkable and on the Supernova Note, both which have much more of a gray or a neutral background. I also saw that there is one other product that is out there, and that is the Kindle short form, and I call it the Kindle short form. They've come out with a new Kindle, and that Kindle is something that is basically pocket size for taking notes. Think of it as a mini iPhone. Again, the Kindle has, you can load books. It has a few more applications, not nearly as many as the iPhone. Really hasn't gained traction in the marketplace, but it exists. And then finally, from a competitive point of view, there's another Chinese product that's come onto the market called the Onyx Books, Boox. And it really is a less expensive Supernote in terms of its product. Again, hasn't had a lot of traction. You're not going to see a lot of people using that. The Supernote clearly has had more market penetration in the US than the Onyx. So when we take all this and we summarize it, what does it tell me as I've looked at these products and played around with them? Well, it tells me that if you're looking for something that is really a note-taking document signing type of apparatus, and you're not looking for it to do more, then really the reMarkable 2, the second version, is the gold standard. Even with the shortcomings that I mentioned, and even with if you've got messy handwriting conversion issues that can be there, it is a truly it really was the first to come onto the market with this dedicated focus, and it interfaces very easily with virtually every type of cloud-based or other type of storage you have. And the function in terms of loading PDFs and signing documents is really wonderful. The Supernote is a close second. I think it does a nice job. It's not quite as smooth and not quite as at least I think functional as the reMarkable 2, but it's pretty good. Not a fan of the iPad for this function, and then the other two I think are far behind the first three that we talked about. So if you are looking to save paper, if you are looking to streamline and go electronic on your note process taking, and if you are looking for something that seamlessly interfaces with virtually every type of storage that you can find, including the cloud storage, the reMarkable 2 really is the way to go, David, that I've found. And I've learned a lot going through this process, sampling these. Uh, Personal touch, personal preference is something you really ought to try them, but reMarkable 2 really is the gold standard.
Well, that's good. That's a lot of good information on the various tablets you can use. I got a couple questions I'm going to ask
Fire
you, and
away.
that is, I looked up a little bit on the reMarkable, and one of the characteristics, it says no web browser, but you do say that it interfaces with the internet. See, I'm not a real expert in this area. Go ahead and tell everyone what it means to have a web browser, but it only interfaces with the internet.
So the reMarkable, it, it styles itself, and that's what it says. I don't think it really does. It certainly doesn't have a web browser. When the internet, I think what they really mean is that you can pick up Wi-Fi signals with it. That's really, if I were wording it instead of their marketing piece, I would word it that way, that it is Wi-Fi prepared and it is Wi-Fi accepted so that you can get on there. But you're not going to be able to use it the way that you would be able to use an iPad to really surf the net. It's designed for one function and one function only, and that's basically to be a service tool for professionals who are either taking notes or are loading documents or reading PDFs. It is a uniform function task apparatus.
Yeah. So if you bought these for your associates, you wouldn't have to worry that they're surfing the internet on a reMarkable. Is that right?
I think it's a safe bet that they're going to be using their other tools to do that. Yes.
All right. Um, the handwriting to text conversion, I've tried a couple of these, and I don't know, I have never seen that they were that successful. You always had to do a lot of cleanup. How do you see the reMarkable 2 does in converting your handwritten notes to text?
Really interesting question, because if you'd seen my handwriting, you'd say, why in the heck would I even try it? Because it's bad enough on paper, it's hideous on the tablet. But I was surprised that I would give it a solid B minus with my handwriting. But for somebody who has even marginally neat handwriting, it's pretty darn accurate. My paralegal uses it, and she has lovely handwriting. It's pretty accurate. It doesn't miss words. It doesn't mischaracterize words. So again, I think you have to sample these tools. And if your handwriting is lousy on paper, it's going to be tough for this tool to read it. But the optical tool that the reMarkable uses was better than I expected. I expected to be able to tell you that it was a C or a D level in terms of conversion, but it's a solid B or B minus from my point of view. And again, doctor's handwriting, lawyer's handwriting, hard to pick up.
Okay, well, that's good. Another question would be, if you're like me and I have a reMarkable 2 in front of me and I want to write something, could I select a dictation option and simply say something and it would dictate?
That's a good question, and I don't use it enough to be able to answer that, but I do not believe that it has that. I am not aware it has that function. Now, probably we'll have somebody in the audience who uses this who'll say, well, of course it does. I'm not aware that it does. I think it's strictly for writing.
Okay. Um, I always ask a couple curveballs, and shows that I've done my homework a little bit. All right, one last question, that is, To interface the reMarkable 2 with the internet, can you use your phone as a hotspot? Would that work?
Yes.
Okay. So pretty much any place you have phone service, you could hook your reMarkable up and it would interface with the internet and do all your storage activities that you want it to do. That sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, look, I think that is it. You did mention the reMarkable 2, the iPad, the Super Note Nova, the Kindle, and the Onyx. Now, I did not catch the last word with the Onyx. What was that? And you spelled it.
Books, Boox.
Boox. All right. Well, Drew, I think this was fantastic. If anybody's looking into a tablet, I think they should watch this and listen to it and probably take your advice and go with the reMarkable 2. I have some attorneys in my hometown that we have talked about this, and they have started using reMarkable, I think the 2, and they do like it so far. So, any more comments after this?
Glad to be with you. Hopefully this will help some folks, and maybe we're bringing all of us into the
All right,
22nd
on behalf
century,
of the
if you
Practice
will.
Technology Committee, we are over and out until next month's Tech Tips.